Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. So this video is going to be focusing on the roof trusses. It will show delivery all the way through to how we got them onto the roof and then how we set them. What you're looking at now is a 3D drawing that comes with all the Pascal trusses. Basically there's a QR code on the drawing that they send, and then it sends you to this link, and it's basically a 3D model, so you can rotate it, go right the way, zoom in, zoom out, go underneath, so you can basically see every single noggin, every single truss clip, where your roof ladders are going to be either end, where all your braces are, because there's braces that run along the top apex of the trusses and diagonally down, so you can see exactly where you've got to brace all your trusses. It was an absolute godsend because I was able to use it on site and see exactly where I had to put all the truss clips, work out exactly what size clip goes where, because there are different clips for different parts. It was an absolute godsend and I couldn't recommend it enough. Okay, so what you're seeing now is the first moment and the only moment of the build where I thought, oh my god, what have I done here? When that lorry arrived and I saw the sheer size of the trusses, I thought, what are we going to do? We wasn't going to be getting a crane, just purely for the fact that there was overhead cables and we're on a main road, so we probably would have had to have got a permit to close the road down, which wasn't an option because any crane would have blocked the road, and the angle getting on the drive was almost impossible. So the plan was to get a Hiab in that would lift the trusses from the first floor, from the ground floor to the first floor, and then we'd have to do the manual lifting from the first to the wall plates to create the roof. So what you're watching now is us handballing them, my mate Dan and the hero of the build, Amber's granddad George. We lifted them off the lorry and then putting them onto next door's drive. They were kind enough to let us use their drive, so our drive was free for the Hiab. These trusses are about 125 kilos each, so they could be manhandled between a couple of you, but the problem was obviously the size of them was difficult to grab hold of them and secure them properly. We was also worried about them sagging under their own weight because of the truss clips that were clipped and joined in the sections together. And also obviously we also had to take into consideration there was over 2 tonne in total of weight on next door's drive. So the last thing we wanted was to start sinking their drive, so it was a case of trying to get them on and then off as quick as possible. So what you can see now is the crane driver lifting off the braces, because you get the brace materials with them, and also extra timbers because the way the roof's designed, as per that picture at the start, the middle section of trusses are mono-trusses because that's where the stairs are going to go. So obviously there'll be a cutout, so then normal trusses are no good. So the way it's designed is there will be 7 trusses on the back half or the back third of the house. There'll be 8 trusses on the front third of the house, and then in the middle of the house there will be 3 trusses bolted and nailed together at each end of the stairs, and then mono trusses in the middle. So we've managed to lift all the trusses off the lorry with a lot of heavy lifting. Wasn't easy, but they're all on the drive. Thank you very much, neighbours. Without you allowing us to get them on your drive, there's no way we would have got the Hiab onto our drive to lift them up. So the next stage is for the Hiab to turn up and arrive on the drive, and then we'll slide 1 truss off at a time onto the back of the Hiab and then lift them up to the first floor. We've got the fill-ins here for the stairs, all the braces, all in a pile there. You've then got the mono trusses there, so they're the ones that go where the stairs are going to go in the middle section. You've got the purlins that will go in the middle supporting their mono trusses, and here are the ladders for either end to create your soffits for the end of your roof. So there's a lot to lift up to the top floor, but a lot of it could stay down here temporarily until we're ready for it. That's now absolutely everything unloaded. That's 7 grand's worth of trusses from Pascal. So they're all there, all ready to go, awkward to lift. Yeah, and just absolutely huge. There's a massive span there. They're 8 metres in span, and you've got 4 metre wide room in the middle and 2.4 metres high to the top bit. So a nice size room. Okay guys, so I've got a mad master plan. I've done a test run and it's actually worked. I know you're going to be calling me an absolute idiot, but it's the only way that I can do it, because crane access is just almost impossible on this road and on this site. So as you can see there, amazingly, I got that up on my own, completely on my own, no assistance whatsoever, and in a way that I think was quite safe and controlled within reason. So what I've done is I've heavily braced the back truss. It can't go forward, it can't go backwards. It's secured to this plate on the floor that goes into the double wall joist that I've got in the floor, and I've also put a vertical bit underneath the cross strut there at the top to support that. What I've then done is I've got a rope, and I've found an absolutely huge rock in the garden, drilled right the way through the rock and fed my rope through the hole, tied the knots on the bottom and then tied round the rock. So that is my heavy weight. I then take the rope over the ridge of the first truss, and that will secure to the top of my next truss. That's the easy bit. I've then made this rod up with a U-shape cut out in the top of it, so that'll be what I use to push the apex of the truss up into the air. And I've already tested this, so I know it works. The rock is heavy enough not to take it away so it all swings and smashes in, but to basically, one, make it lighter for me to push it up, but B, whatever position I push it up to, it holds it. There's a little bit of issue with the amount of drop that I've got. I had to do several adjustments with it where it bottomed out on the conservatory roof and then the cabinets in the conservatory. But now I've got the rear scaffold up, hopefully I can go over the scaffold and it gives us just a little bit more length to drop down to the conservatory, and then hopefully we can go past the conservatory and down to the garden if need be. Obviously I know this is going to get more difficult the more trusses we get, because you're going to have more of a horizontal rope truss. So I'll see how far I can get, and then we might have to consider maybe bracing up a random truss in the middle and then using that as our new anchor point and then dropping it straight down. So that's the easy part. Now what I've got to do is I've got to twist this truss so the apex is facing the front, so it's in a position where it can then go like that. That's the hard bit. These first few will be alright because they're quite high up, so I can get that corner onto the wall plate. I've then got to try and lift that end onto the wall plate. What I've then done is I've blocked up right up against where the truss will be pulled against. So it'll sit against that block there, and I've got to do another one that side. So I know the truss can't go further back than it should do. Then what I can do is when I'm almost vertical, I can then put another one on the other side of it to sandwich it in place so it can't move anywhere. So I know they're in the right place. I did it by hand last time. This time I've got a trolley jack. So I will put the edge against the wall. I'll put this board against the wall so the end of the truss doesn't sit in there and then get caught. So I should be able to hopefully, in a controlled way, jack it up the wall and onto the wall plate. I can then push and drag them quite easily, supporting the end of the apex of that ladder, and then I'll lift and pivot the whole thing up. Then brace it. They're not plumb yet. The bottom are set at the 600mm centre, so they're in the right place, but none of them are plumb yet. Just got to get them up there, brace them all, and I'll work that afterwards because they're bloody heavy. Once I've got the 3-ply in this side of the stairs and get this section done, hopefully I can brace them off, and that'll give me a bit more strength to pull them against each other to try and even them off. Otherwise I'm not sure how I'm going to plumb them all up yet. But that idea did work. I've achieved it once already, and we've got a truss up. So you guys are all going to have the luxury of watching me as I do it. Okay, so after having done 5 on my own and proving that I could do it on my own, I then decided it was going to take far too long and I had to get the cavalry in. So over comes George again to give us a hand getting them all up, and it went very, very well. We got to a point where we were obviously running out of room, because the more you put them in and lift them up and set them across the house, the less room we had to get the remaining trusses up. So we decided to just get all the trusses up together after the first third ply truss, tie them all off together so they're all up after one day, and then we could go back and address trying to get the front half of the trusses across the wall plates and positioned in the front. But the plan went exactly how we planned it and imagined it. We managed to get them up with minimal distortion, and they're all up there roughly in the right place on the wall plate laterally. So it's only a case of position them in their final position actually on the wall. It was very windy, as you can see from the slings moving around in the wind, so that didn't help. But we managed it, we persevered. So we actually did manage to get all of them trusses up, 2 tons worth of trusses onto the wall plates without a crane. The only mechanical help we had was getting them to the first floor. We could have lifted them up to the first floor, but for the cost of a few £100, it was far easier and it made a lot more sense, and it was a lot safer to get them lifted up with the Hiab. And we managed to use the Hiab to lift the very first truss onto the wall plate. Obviously this entire plan depended on having the first truss up in place, because that was our pivot point for having the rope and the rock going over it. So I had to ensure I got that first rear truss up. So without the Hiab we couldn't have done that. So you can see now the view from the first floor with all the trusses in place, and you can kind of now get an understanding of the size of the space, how high the ceilings are on the first floor, but not just that, just how high the roof is and the room in the roof. Like I said before, it's 2.4 metres high. The actual trusses are over 3 metres in height. The building from ground to the very top apex of the roof is 9 metres. And I actually made the trusses 150mm smaller than they had to be in height, just to ensure I was within the drawings, obviously, for the planning. So they're all up, there you go, there they are. So we've got the first 7 sections, or 7 trusses in the first section in place, braced in the right place, and then we've then got the rest up there all together, tied, ready to go. So now we need to slide them all along to their correct positions, fix them in place, plumb them, level them, brace them. Then once they're done, I can build the front gable finally and the back gable to suit the roof trusses, and finally get the front of the house built. And then we're more or less there. What I'll have then is a middle section where the stairs are going with the mono-trusses, so that will have to be built, which will be a little bit more difficult, because obviously with the trusses that are already made like this, you've got a floor space, so you can put some boards down and you've got a suitable platform then to be able to brace from. The mono-trusses haven't got the floor part in yet, I've got to build that myself. So they'll be loosely fitted between the 3-ply trusses that are fixed in place, so they can't go anywhere, but they'll be loosely fitted in there. And then I can put where the stairs are going to go, build the floor in the mono-truss space as per the 3D drawing, and then I can access the mono-trusses to brace all of them. So that's the plan, but obviously the next stage is to get all these trusses in the right place on the third section. But you can see from down here the sheer size of the loft room that's up there. So I've got to admit, I'm very proud, very chuffed that we got there. When you're in the moment, you don't really think about it, you just do it. But now I'm watching it back, editing it, I'm thinking, wow, what have I achieved there? That is massive.